Hall, open three. Oh, what a sight for Lexie Hall. She has needed that one to drop.
Lexie Hall hadn't made a three-pointer in what felt like forever. Game after game, shot after shot, nothing was falling. Her confidence was completely shot, and honestly, it was hard to watch. But then something magical happened against the Chicago Sky. In front of a packed arena with her team desperately needing someone to step up, Hall found her shot again, and when she did, it wasn't just about basketball anymore. It was about redemption, resilience, and proving that sometimes the best stories come from the most unexpected places. Here's the crazy part though. This wasn't supposed to happen. The Fever were missing their best player, had no point guards left, and were going up against a team that was hungry for revenge. This should have been a disaster. Instead, it turned into one of the most inspiring comeback stories you'll see all season. If you love a good underdog story, you're going to want to stick around for this one, because what happened next proves that sometimes the best moments come when everything seems impossible.
We're back home, baby, let's go! Back in the W column. That's a big dub, baby! Point guard.
Let me tell you just how bad things had gotten for the Fever before this game. It was like someone was playing a cruel joke on them. First, Caitlin Clark gets hurt and has to sit out with a groin injury. No timeline for when she's coming back. That's already rough, but then it gets way worse. In their game against Phoenix, 2 more players go down. Sydney Colson tears her ACL, and Ari McDonald breaks her foot. Same game. Both done for the season. So now they've got no Caitlin Clark, no backup point guards, and Coach Stephanie White is basically trying to figure out how to run plays with whoever's left standing. She's talking about doing things by committee, which is coach speak for, we have no idea what we're doing. And right in the middle of all this chaos, Lexie Hall was going through her own personal nightmare. This is a player who's supposed to be one of their best shooters, right? But she had gone ice cold. We're talking 2 for 25 from 3-point range over 2 weeks. That's brutal. Now, to understand just how crazy this slump was, you need to know who Lexie Hall really is as a player. This is someone who was a star at Stanford, helped them win a national championship, and was known for having one of the purest shooting strokes in college basketball. The Fever drafted her specifically because she could shoot the lights out. Hall's not just any shooter either. She's got that rare combination of size and range that makes her nearly impossible to guard when she's locked in. At 6'1", she can shoot over smaller defenders, and her release is so quick that even when teams know it's coming, they can't stop it. When she's confident, she's the type of player who can single-handedly change a game with her shooting. But here's the thing about shooters, it's 90% mental. Your mechanics can be perfect, but if your head isn't right, nothing's going in, and you could see it eating at her. She'd hesitate on shots she used to take without thinking. The confidence was just gone, and when a shooter loses their confidence, it's like watching someone forget how to ride a bike.
We lost our last 2, but I think, I don't know, that LA one felt good for us because we didn't quit. And then, life happened the other night at the Valley, so we could have looked at it like, oh, woe is me, and we don't have enough players, and we didn't. So shout out to our group for just staying confident and staying ready because, it's a professional league and we have to be ready and we can't make too many excuses about it because no one's going to hand us anything. So we might as well look at it for what it is and keep showing up.
The absolute lowest point came in that Phoenix game, and honestly, it was hard to watch. Hall went 1 for 11 from the field and 0 for 8 from 3-point range. 2 points total. For someone who built her career on putting the ball in the basket, that's about as bad as it gets. But here's what made it even more heartbreaking. You could see how much it was affecting her teammates too. After the game, Kelsey Mitchell had an emotional moment with Hall. She basically told her, look, we're going to count on you for what you bring to the table every night, and I'm going to stand by you no matter what. That's real teammate stuff right there. Mitchell could see that Hall was drowning in her own head, and she threw her a lifeline. Sometimes that's all a struggling player needs, just knowing that their teammates still believe in them. when they can't believe in themselves. The crazy part is, that Phoenix game might have been exactly what Hull needed, that sometimes you have to hit rock bottom before you can start climbing back up, and boy did she ever climb back up. But here's the thing about this Fever team, they don't quit. Even when everything looks impossible, they find a way to fight back. And what happened against Chicago is going to give you chills. Before we get to the good stuff, hit that like button if you've ever had to push through a really tough time, because what Lexie Hull did next is exactly why you never give up. The Chicago Sky thought they were catching the Fever at the perfect time. No Caitlin Clark, no point guards, and their best shooter in a major slump. This looked like their chance to finally get revenge after losing to Indiana 3 times already this season. But they had no idea what was about to hit them.
Unbelievably proud. I think this is the most resilient team I've ever been a part of, and I say that wholeheartedly. We've had a lot of mishap happen throughout the course of the season. I think throughout the course of it all, we stay resilient, and you guys get to see us at our best when we stay together and be resilient. So shout out to my girls tonight, because I think it took everybody. Everyone played a piece, played a role, and I think that's how we got there.
So here's how it all went down. Lexie Hull gets her first 3-point attempt of the game, and you can see Caitlin Clark watching from the bench. The ball goes up, and for a second, everything is quiet. Then, swish, perfect shot. But here's what made it special. Clark doesn't just clap politely. She jumps up and starts celebrating like she just hit the game winner herself. That's when, this was about way more than just one basket. This was weeks of frustration finally breaking loose. And that's when something clicked for Hull. It was like all the pressure just melted away. She started moving differently, shooting with confidence again, playing like the player everyone knew she could be. Let me paint you the picture of how this unfolded. Her second 3 came off a beautiful screen from Aaliyah Boston. Hull caught the ball in rhythm, no hesitation this time, and buried it. The crowd was getting louder with each make, and you could see her teammates getting more and more excited on the bench. But it wasn't just the made shots that impressed. Hull was moving without the ball like her old self again. She was curling around screens, finding the open spots, and most importantly, she wasn't thinking about her shots anymore. She was just playing basketball. The third 3 was probably the prettiest one. Sophie Cunningham found her in the corner, and Hull let it fly with complete confidence, nothing but net. By this point, the arena was going crazy, and even the Chicago players were starting to look frustrated. They knew they were watching someone get hot, and there's nothing scarier in basketball than a shooter who's found their rhythm. Her fourth and final 3 was pure poetry.
I mean, you guys are unfortunately kind of familiar with injury updates this season, but I imagine yesterday's was probably pretty tough. Just what's the reaction been from you guys, the players, the coaches, to losing Sid and Ari?
Yeah, I mean, first and foremost, just brokenhearted for them. They're 2 really good people that you hate to see this happen to. They've been an integral part of what we've been doing, and so hate it for them. Unfortunately, it's part of the deal, and we've got to roll with it. And we've got players in that locker room who believe in one another. Players in that locker room who are as competitive as all get out. We've got versatility, and it's going to have to be on full display. So I think now it's about playing to honor them, right, and playing for them.
With the game already in hand, Hull caught the ball at the top of the key with the shot clock winding down. Instead of forcing something, she took her time, stepped into it, and drained it. Then she did that little celebration where she threw up the 3-point sign and let her tongue hang out as she jogged back down court. Pure joy. Hull ended up making 4 out of 6 3-pointers that night, but the stats don't tell the whole story. You were watching someone remember who they were as a player. The hesitation was gone, the confidence was back, and she was having fun again. Her teammates were going crazy every time she scored. Aaliyah Boston was throwing up the 3-point celebration. Sophie Cunningham was giving her huge hugs. When that final 3 went down, nearly everyone in black headed directly to Hull to celebrate. This was a team celebrating their friend's success, and it was beautiful to watch. Now, while Hull was breaking out of her slump, Kelsey Mitchell was putting on a show of her own. Here's a player who's been a scorer her whole career, and suddenly she has to run the offense because they literally have no one else. Most players would struggle with that kind of pressure. Not Mitchell. She stepped up and played like she'd been running point her whole life, 8 assists, only 1 turnover, and still managed to score 26 points. That's incredible. You could see her finding passes that surprised even her own teammates. She was seeing the court differently, making plays that got everyone involved. It was like watching someone discover a superpower they didn't know they had. What made this game so special wasn't just individual performances, it was how everyone lifted each other up. When Hall made shots, the whole bench erupted. When Mitchell made a great pass, everyone celebrated like it was their own assist. This is what team chemistry looks like when it's really clicking. They weren't just playing basketball, they were playing for each other, and that's the kind of thing that can carry a team through anything.
You don't have any healthy point guards and you're not able to sign anyone for tonight's game. Just for tonight specifically, what is your plan kind of running point?
We'll have to do it by committee, certainly. I mean, we've been utilizing AB to initiate offense throughout the course of the season, so we'll use her, continue to use her. Sophie, at times this season, particularly early, ran some of the point for us as well. So we'll utilize her and Kelsey can initiate offense too. So I think the most important thing is that we aren't going to be able to do every play in our arsenal. We'll have to play a big lineup. We'll have to simplify. But we've got players who are capable of getting us into offense, and we'll utilize them in such a way.
Here's why this game matters way beyond just one win. Every team in the WNBA just got a wake-up call. You can't just game plan for Caitlin Clark anymore. This supporting cast just proved they can take over games too. Think about it. You spend all week preparing to stop 1 or 2 players, and suddenly Lexie Hull is draining threes and Kelsey Mitchell is running point like a veteran. That's nightmare fuel for opposing coaches. The Fever aren't just a one-player team anymore. They've got depth, they've got chemistry, and they've got players who can step up when it matters most. Now, here's where this gets really interesting from a basketball perspective. If you look at every championship team in WNBA history, they all have one thing in common, like role players who can become stars when needed. Think about the Las Vegas Aces' recent runs or the Seattle Storm's championships. It wasn't just their superstars carrying the load every night. What happened with Hull and Mitchell against Chicago is exactly how championship teams are built. You need that third and fourth scoring option who can take over. When your main guys are struggling or missing, you need players who can completely change their role mid-season and excel at it. This is also huge for the development of women's basketball as a whole. One of the biggest criticisms of the WNBA has always been depth. The idea that only a few teams have enough talent to compete. But when you see performances like this where role players are playing at an all-star level, it shows the league is getting deeper and more competitive. The Fever just gave other organizations a blueprint for how to build around a superstar. You don't just need good players, you need good people who are willing to sacrifice, adapt, and step up when called upon. That's championship culture right there. Now let's talk about what this means for the WNBA as a whole. Usually when Caitlin Clark is out, everything tanks. Ticket sales, TV ratings, you name it, fans just don't show up the same way. But this game proved something important. The Caitlin Clark effect is starting to spread to the whole team. People are getting invested in these other players too. That's exactly what the league needs for long-term success. When Clark comes back, this team is going to be absolutely scary. You'll have a superstar surrounded by players who've proven they can win without her. That's championship material right there.
Williams gonna have to hurry off the dribble, rolls out. Oh, open three. Oh, what a sight for Lexie Hull. She has needed that one to drop.
Lexie Hull catching fire.
Now Chicago just needs to get it a little bit more settled here in the half court. Nurse loses it. Mitchell 2-on-1. It's a foot race. Mitchell to Cunningham right there for 2 more.
What I love most about this story is how it shows what happens when you bring in good people who genuinely care about each other. Coach Stephanie White talked about wanting quality human beings, and you can see that paying off. When Hull was struggling, her teammates kept believing in her. When Mitchell had to change positions, everyone adjusted to help. That's not just good basketball, that's good life. So here we are with a completely different Indiana Fever team than what we had a few weeks ago. Lexie Hull has her confidence back and is shooting like the player we always knew she could be. Kelsey Mitchell just discovered she can run an offense at the highest level, and the whole team knows they can compete with anyone. When Caitlin Clark comes back healthy, she's joining a team that just proved they don't need her to carry everything. That takes so much pressure off her and makes the whole team more dangerous. Picture this team in the playoffs. They've been through adversity together. They've had to figure things out when everything went wrong. They've built the kind of trust that only comes from going through tough times together. That's the stuff that wins championships, not just talent, but the mental toughness that comes from proving you can overcome anything. The Fever just showed they're not just hoping to make the playoffs, they're building something that can make serious noise once they get there. At the end of the day, this is about more than just basketball. It's about what happens when you don't give up on people when they're struggling. It's about how good teammates lift each other up. It's about finding ways to succeed even when everything seems impossible. Lexie Hull could have let that shooting slump define her season. Instead, she kept working, kept believing, and had her teammates support through it all. And when the moment came, she was ready. That's a lesson that goes way beyond the basketball court. Sometimes the best thing you can do is keep showing up, keep working, and trust that things will turn around. The Indiana Fever just reminded us all why sports can be so inspiring. Because on any given night, with the right attitude and the right people around you, magic can happen. If you made it this far, drop a comment down below because you just witnessed something special. The Fever aren't just getting better, they're becoming the kind of team that no one wants to face. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you.